I just don't know if I can go through this anymore. It was just yesterday. Yesterday. It was just yesterday. Yeah. I have to do it. I have to get the courage. Get out there and show everyone what fish was all about. We have to begin, all right? Here we go. Hold on. Today is an unfortunate day. This is a hard day for me especially. I have a little announcement for my friend Flipper. I have things to tell all of you guys about. I know it's a long sheet, but I just have to tell you guys about how. First of all, good morning, everyone. Today is the day I will never forget. It is a day of celebration. It is a day of remembrance. When Flipper was alive, he was my closest friend. He stuck to my shirt like the whole day yesterday. The whole day yesterday, he stuck to my shirt. Not only that, he was widely accepted as a valid, vigilant, volatile, vulnerable, vivacious, Vex, and Venus of a friend. You may ask why Flipper was described as Venus, because, well, Venus is next to the Earth, so I kind of thought that they would be kind of friends, so I kind of described them that. Hopefully that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'll have to talk to my editor about that. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, his death was a sad one. As you notice today, we have an open casket to see Flipper. He has battle marks, of course. Those are actually grill marks. So I'm not gonna lie, I think Flipper was probably the tastiest friend I ever had. But we'll still continue here. But like, who wrote this? Like, this is getting kind of morbid here pretty quickly here. All right, so okay, here we go. Okay, so now Flipper, he lives in my stomach. Wow, this is really getting bad. And now we can thank him all for that. Flipper, wherever you are, thank you for taking my hunger away. And now I can get 3 huzzahs for Flipper. Huzzah! 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 This is going to be a hard day for me, students. It is Flipper's passing away. I've come here to deliver a message. Today, we are going to do our worksheet that we covered yesterday. Sorry. Oh, okay. I got to compose myself. Okay. So first of all, okay, so we have right here on page 391 to 392, it says this. Give 2 examples of fish who lack scales. That's gonna be catfish as well as eels. Make sure you guys notice the difference between that. Catfish and eels are going to be considered not having scales for us. The W-shaped bands and where fish muscles are structured. Well, this is myomeres. Myomeres are going to be that. So hopefully, if you guys have been kind of curious, go out and grab a fish from the grocery store. I think that's where you get fish from the grocery store. Put it on a grill it up. Check out those W bands. Of course, they're going to be there. Trust me. Next one we have here. How do you tell the age of a fish? Well, this is going to be its growth rings. Of course, just like trees. We've already covered that already. Not only that, Right here, true or false? Mayan ears are controlled by one large nerve. No way. It's actually going to be controlled by several different types of nerve endings, of course. So all these muscles are individually specialized with these nerve endings. So make sure you guys understand that. Next thing that we have here, first of all, our next thing, 6, 7, 8. What are 3 types of muscle fibers that fish actually have? Skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles are all going to be in those 3. That is definitely a characteristic of us humans. We definitely have those muscle structures as well. We're vertebrates. Fish are vertebrates. However, we don't have gills. We have lungs, a little bit different that we see there. Your homework, we're over what we had yesterday. Number 1, how fast can an ocean-going sailfish exceed? This guy's going 60 miles per hour. Wow, that is pretty crazy. Even just today, actually, I was looking up dogs, and one of like the fastest dogs is a greyhound. A greyhound can go 45 miles per hour. That's like ridiculously fast, and I think it's actually close to a cheetah. Except I have to get back to you guys on that, how fast cheetah can run. So we're getting pretty close up there with the dog world. Comparing to our sailfish here, they're really cool looking. Make sure you go take a look at that. List 2 types of fins a fish has and state their purpose. All right, so we have, oh, I forgot my fish hat. We're going to have to go get that for Flipper. I guess we can use him as an example. But we have our dorsal fin. We have our caudal fin. Maybe I can just act it out right here. Our caudal fin right here, our dorsal fin that we have, our pelvic muscles that we have, as well as our pectoral muscles. Well, hold on. I messed that up. We have our pelvic fins, and then we have, wait, no, that's not right either. We have our pectoral fins, and then we have our pectoral, and then pelvic. There you go, our pelvic fins. Man, I'm losing it today. And then finally, we have our anal fin as well. I already talked a little bit about that in detail. So the dorsal fin most likely responsible for stabilization as it's going through the water. Can you imagine just fish just going like that throughout the water? They're going to need that dorsal fin in order to keep you straight on the track right here. Next thing, we have our caudal fin. Man, we want to get through that ocean quickly. That sailfish, man, it's going to move that tail as really quick so that you guys, not you guys, probably not you guys, but the fish that is able to get through the ocean very quickly. Next thing we have here are pectoral fins. They're going to be braking. We're getting close to the camera. Whoa, here we go. Let's do a backward motion here. So that's pretty much what that's going to be responsible for. Our pelvic fin staying upright, of course. We can be tipping over. Oh, we have another fin. Oh, keep us forward and straight on the path. So there you go. That is pretty much all we had for our homework yesterday. Now, finally, today, actually, I guess I should ask, does anyone have any questions? Let's continue. All right, so here we go. Next thing we're going to be talking about on pages 339 to 340, go to ThinkWave and check it out. It's going to have all the information that you guys need there, so make sure you guys go and see that. Number 1, this structure allows carbon dioxide as well as oxygen to pass between the water and the fish's body. Very cool how this really works. We already kind of know. That those are the gills. The gills are responsible for that. We have nostrils in the fish that's letting air get in through the nostrils, aiding in the process of getting water through the gills. So notice that those nostrils aren't really for breathing. It's just getting that water in to the gills better. And then not only that, it's kind of interesting because we actually have, fish have 8 gills. Now, it's not 8 gills on one side of the fish has 8 and the other side has 8. They have 4 gills on each side, so they have 8 all together. So notice the difference between that. Very important. We have the next thing, the gill arch. This is kind of cool. If any of you guys have been to St. Louis, their arch right there, I have been there before. Kind of think about that, about gills. That's going to be pretty much our structure. Here we go. I am trying to look for my eraser. I can't find it, so I'll just have to use my body. Here we go. All right. Okay. All right, fantastic. Here we go. So let's continue here. I wish I could keep Flipper up here, but we already had a quick presentation for him. So this thing is not coming off. I used Scotch paper to get this guy up here. Okay, well, this just went worse for Flipper. That's unfortunate. That's all right. We'll still continue. All right, so think about the arch, okay? So we have our gill arch right here. Now, this gill arch, guys, is actually going to have all of our other gills with it. Notice, as soon as, oh, drop the cat. As soon as we drop, as soon as we have water going in to the fish, to the gills, we need breakers, first of all. But first of all, our solid structure that we have is going to be, in fact, our rakers. Now, these rakers, let's just say, hopefully you guys can see that. These rakers are usually going to be solid, straight structures that we see here. So I want to make sure you guys understand this. First of all, we have H2O, of course, water, and then oxygen. This fish is, Flipper is in the way here for us. So notice that we have the water current going into the gill. It's very important to see that. The water is going this direction. Notice it's not going from the other direction. It's going from this direction. So make sure you guys notice the difference between that. And as it's doing that, the rakers are really going to be kind of used as a rake, obviously. When you have, let's just say you have a metal rake, and then you finally have a leaf rake. Now, there's going to be difference between those. A metal rake is pretty much a little more shorter. It's going to have about 1 inch sections to it. However, a leaf rake actually has really close rakes to it, so therefore you're able to get those leaves a lot better. So they both have different structures. Rakers, kind of the same idea. This is going to be kind of our metal rake section. That's going to pick up our leaves. That's going to keep, well, not really leaves for the fish, but it's going to pick up that big material like that plankton, as well as maybe vegetated material as well. And that's not going to, they don't want that going in through the gill. So the rakers are going to take that away. Once it gets past the rakers, it is going to go past the gill arch and then into the filaments. Now, this is where we're going to see a lot of carbon absorption as well as carbon dioxide that is going to be released. So notice here, gill arches, not the gill arch, sorry, the gill filaments are different than the gill rakers. Now, what's kind of the different structure that we see here with the filaments? Well, it's going to be this idea here. So first of all, we're going to have a branching of the filaments, but however, we're going to actually have one filament. These guys are going to be together, and they're going to actually break into 2 filaments. Notice that. Even on the page of 393, you can see there. You have the gill filaments. The capillaries are in there. Notice that. This is where we're going to have our blood flow. It's going to go out and in for that carbon dioxide exchange that we need to have going on right there. So, well, before I get ahead of myself here, each gill consists of a curved arch of cartilage, so it's really sturdy stuff, called the gill arch, of course. Number 4, 2 branches coming off the gills into rows of long and narrow gills. So we have 2 branches right there. That's going to be gill filaments. So notice that as well. Now, this one's kind of an interesting question. I'm glad I put this in here. Number 5, it says this. Other than the operculum, which we already know hopefully what the operculum is, it's that structure to really protect the gills, of course. The gills are really tender material. They can be damaged. And so what it's mostly responsible for is closing that operculum and then opening it, letting water get through, and then also protecting it if they're going through maybe stones or something, attacking it, something similar to that idea. So we have that. We have also here number 6. So we've already talked about the circulation process that we can see here with our gill filaments. Of course, we're going to have blood flow going out of the filaments and then back. It's staying in that structure, so it's not going out of the body, of course. So therefore, their circulatory system is going to be closed. Interesting, kind of similar to humans that we see here. We have a closed circulatory system as well. We're going to see that they're going to have a heart, they're going to have capillaries, and they're going to be mostly, like most of the time, they are cold-blooded animals. For fish, we're mammals, we're warm-blooded animals, but we're going to have a closed circulatory system, and therefore, it's still going to have the white blood cells or red blood cells, all those different characteristics that we see with that as well. So make sure you guys understand that. On the last part of our homework, I want to make sure you guys understand the gill structure, of course, since we're talking about fish. Let's talk a little bit about this. So the homework, draw the structure of the gills, including the rakers, the arch, and the filaments. You guys need to include all of those materials in this diagram here. Notice something else when I drew my diagram. I know I kind of drew this diagram looking, I guess if you cut the fish in half and put it on the table, looking down from it. So the figure in your book actually has a great example of that. Make sure you take a look on page 393 with the water that is going through it. So make sure you guys see that. You can either do that one or even my picture. That works as well. So notice we have the gill rakers right here. I didn't write on the board, but you should probably definitely know that. The gill rakers, we have the gill arch. The water is passing that. Remember, the rake is really supposed to is going to get all that big material out of the way so that the fish can absorb that water, the oxygen in the water, because we have H2O, H2 and our oxygen right there. And then our filaments is where we're going to have that exchange, that oxygen exchange between those ideas here. So also, I wanted to make sure you guys understood where the water is going. Make sure you actually label that in your diagram right here. Label where the water current is going, because that's going to be very important, because we want to make sure that the fish is breathing correctly. We already did a lot of examples with the fish, I believe, when we had our fish lab a long time ago, and when we put it in I think it was a mason jar, we cut off the circulation to the fish, therefore it wasn't able to breathe sooner than later. So we had that example right there. And then, of course, the prime example, Jared, I think you had your fish that you just threw in the hot water, died pretty swiftly. So we'll rest in peace for that fish as well. So here's the deal. That is everything that we need to go over. This is going to be your homework over the weekend. I'm thinking about sending you guys some quizzes maybe next week so that make sure you guys are ready for that. Notice that these homeworks are 60% of your grade. You guys are turning in like all your homework pretty quickly. For me, I like to try to get back to you guys on some of the things that you may be missing, because I want you guys to get 100% on all this stuff. Super easy stuff. So make sure you guys are doing that. For quizzes for my class, I believe it's 25%. Tests are 15%, and then projects, I believe it's 5%. So we might have a project sooner than later down the road. If you have any questions, stay on the line. Don't have any questions? See you guys later. Have a great weekend. See if you can go fishing, catch some fish. We'll see you later. Any questions? No more questions. All right. See you guys later.